This manhwa only has 5 chapters released so far, and I've covered everything available. Timestamps are provided for each chapter, so feel free to jump to whichever one you want. If you enjoy the story, make sure to subscribe and stick around for the next chapter. It starts with sparks flying in what looks like the ruins of a Tokyo that no longer belongs entirely to this world. Kazuki Kuwa, level 10 job, none, is already losing. He swings his sword with everything he has, frustration written all over his face as he mutters that he can't land a single hit. And honestly, for someone with literally no job class, this tracks. The man's entire character sheet is just vibes and determination. Tatsuya Morishige, level 30 job heavy warrior, catches Kazuki's strike almost lazily, snapping back that he left himself wide open. Before Kazuki can even process that critique, Tatsuya's counterattack sends him crashing to the ground, his sword clattering beside him like it also gave up. Tatsuya stands over him, laughing. You're still no match for me. Kazuki doesn't argue. Flat on his back, weapon out of his hand, he admits the only thing he can. Lost again. The audacity of a main character, truly. Tatsuya doesn't let him wallow for long. Kazuki's on supply run duty today. Right on cue, a voice cuts through from nearby. Oni-chan! Akina Kuwa, level 1, job, none, professional little sister, is perched nearby with the energy of someone who absolutely did not come here to stress about the outcome. She teases her brother without mercy, suggesting he try looking cool for once. Then, in the same breath, she says she wants to see him win at least once, and somehow that lands both as genuine and as the most devastating sibling burn possible. Kazuki pushes back, pointing out that their uncle was a frontline player, and he just can't beat him. Akina counters, isn't Kazuki supposed to be the highest level one among them? He gives the most defeated. Yeah. Possible. He's always the one getting beaten up, and the siblings fall into step together through the settlement. Then Akina reaches out and takes his hand. She tells him it might just be a normal supply run, but to make sure he comes back safe. Kazuki looks at her, really looks at her, and for just a moment, the exhaustion on his face gives way to something softer. Akina. She smiles up at him. You're my only blood relative. Of course I'm going to worry. And then, because she is absolutely that kind of little sister, the smile flips into a grin, and she cheerfully reminds him not to forget to bring back a souvenir. The emotional moment, destroyed in 3 seconds flat. Kazuki absolutely loses it. You're way too casual about this. He leaves. The world beyond the settlement tells you everything you need to know about why this place even exists. 8 years ago, something catastrophic happened. The coordinates of Tokyo's 23 wards overlapped with an otherworldly dimension called Halphas. 2 worlds merged, and what was born from that collision was the Tokyo Makai. Reality cracked open like a wound, buildings swallowed by a blood-red rift that split the sky apart. And through that rift came the monsters. They ran wild. They attacked without warning or mercy. Cities burned. The Kuwa siblings' parents were among those who didn't survive. In that chaos, a younger Kazuki held a child-sized Akina close and prayed to anything that would listen, at least save Akina. A massive creature loomed over them, jaws wide open, close enough that survival seemed like a statistical impossibility. They were supposed to die right there. They didn't. Someone arrived, a man with a blade and the power to match it, cutting through what should have been an inescapable end. Because the layered disaster didn't just bring monsters through that rift. It also brought something else into this world, the players. Players are humans who can manifest superhuman powers within the Tokyo Makai. They have status values, levels, jobs, and some possess special abilities that function exactly like skills in a game. Basically, Sky rules apply to the real world, except nobody asked for it, and the tutorial was a monster apocalypse. The players were what stood between humanity and total annihilation. The monsters were eventually suppressed, and now the Tokyo Makai has become something unexpected, home. A refuge for outcasts with nowhere else to go, and for those who've awakened to abilities they never had before. Kazuki moves through the settlement, carrying supplies, carrying the memory of everything. If it wasn't for Uncle Tatsuya, either he nor Akina would be here at all. He technically qualifies as a player too, but looking at that truth honestly, he can only land on one conclusion: he's still so weak. He has to get stronger. He has to protect Akina. The supply run itself wraps up without incident. He even splurges a little. It's almost Akina's birthday, and he picks up a red gemstone pendant on a silver chain that catches the light of the dying sun beautifully. He heads back as the sky shifts to dusk, the crescent moon rising over what remains of the Tokyo skyline. Then he hears it. That shouldn't be the sound of a fight. He stops. Through the trees, he spots a group of men, and at the center of it, his uncle. Tatsuya is mid-brawl, outnumbered, trading blows with several opponents who are clearly not holding back. One of the attackers takes a hit that would hospitalize a normal person and barely flinches, laughing as he taunts the former A-rank player, asking if a legend really has nothing more than that. Tatsuya's answer is flat and final. He's retired. That player doesn't exist anymore. The attackers push harder. One of them absorbs punishment that would delete most players and barely staggers. Tatsuya takes a bad hit, and for the first time, his footing actually shifts. Kazuki's chest tightens. His uncle is in danger. And the brutal reality crashes down immediately after. What can someone like him even do here? He finds Akina first. She'd been hiding just out of sight, exactly where Tatsuya told her to stay. She's scared but unhurt. He pulls her close, and for a moment the two of them crouch together in the dark, watching the battle unfold. The fighting is fierce, blades and raw power clashing loud enough to rattle the air around them. The attackers aren't here randomly. Their leader is making a move to seize control of this entire district, and he wanted Tatsuya, a name that still carries enough weight to matter, to serve under him. To be used as a human shield for someone called the Great Show. Tatsuya refused. He told them plainly, he has things to do. The leader's patience, apparently, has a limit. He erupts. His power shifts into a completely different gear. An enormous burst of energy tears through the air, and Akina is directly in its path. Kazuki throws himself over her. They survive. But they've been spotted. The leader pauses and orders his subordinate, a pale, masked fighter with glowing blue sigils materializing around his hands, to drag them out. Kazuki puts himself between Akina and all of it. He has no cards. So he plays the only one available. He stands up, raises both hands, and asks them to spare their lives. He already knows what he's doing. Tatsuya shouts his name. Kazuki, run! The masked subordinate intercepts him before he can move. The leader studies Kazuki for a moment, then smiles. He proposes a game, because apparently powerful villains in this world have the same energy as the final boss, offering the hero one last chance before the credits roll. He's annoyed that no one's landed a clean hit on him all night. So here's the deal, if Kazuki can withstand a single full power punch, he'll let the kid go free. Tatsuya, bleeding through his teeth, agrees. Then asks once, clearly, directly, you'll really let Kazuki go? The leader tells him to worry about himself first. His power floods outward. This is not the same fighter from 5 minutes ago. Tatsuya takes the hit. He absorbs it. Barely. A glowing wound opens on Tatsuya's chest where the impact hit. He drops. He doesn't get up. Kazuki is already beside him. The word uncle barely makes it out of his throat. Kazuki can't form sentences. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Because of me, uncle is. Tatsuya manages to look at him. Don't worry about it. Then, quieter. Kazuki, you don't need to become a player. Not in a place like this. Live in the outside world with Akina, and be happy. Across the way, the leader watches without a shred of interest. Should have just joined up like a good little boy. The leader notices the expression. Hey, brat. I don't like the way you're looking at me. Actually, I'm gonna kill you after all. No. You promised. He laughs. Like I'd ever keep a promise like that. His subordinate locks Kazuki in place. The leader winds up. It's over. Then, from the side, a scream that cuts through everything. Let go of my brother! Kazuki's eyes go wide. Every thought narrows down to one word. Akina! Akina came charging in with her hands still bleeding, screaming at them to let her brother go. The masked subordinate reacted instantly. He grabbed her and sent her crashing hard to the ground. She cried out as she hit the floor, and just like that, the situation went from catastrophic to something even uglier. Akina! The word tore out of Kazuki before he could think. The leader looked down at her crumpled on the ground and actually seemed pleased. Ha! Another brat, huh? He tilted his head with that same disgusting smile. Well, I thought it was just the guy. He reached down and grabbed Akina by her hair, yanking her up. But look what we found here. Kazuki lost it. Stop! Don't you touch my sister! The leader didn't even flinch. He just looked at Kazuki with the expression of someone who has never once been told no and found the whole thing entertaining. He said it plainly. If you want something in this world, you just take it. That's the law. And right now, he wanted to have a little fun. He pointed at Tatsuya, still collapsed and bleeding on the ground nearby. He's one of the weak, he said. And so is Kazuki. So while he entertained himself with Akina, all Kazuki could do was watch. Akina screamed for him to stop. His subordinates wrestled Kazuki down, pinning him as he thrashed and screamed her name over and over. Akina! His voice cracked. His body burned. And across from him, the leader laughed at the sight of it. Look at the small fry brother, screaming. Hilarious. Classic mid-boss energy. Talk big, hit soft, laugh like a Saturday morning cartoon villain. He told Akina to stop resisting. He hit her again, hard enough to send her flying, hard enough to make her scream. She hit the ground and went still. Hair spread out around her. Blood on her face. Eyes barely open. Big brother. The leader glanced over, mildly inconvenienced. Akina. Why? Why does this only happen to us? His mind pulled him back. Sudden violence took their parents from them when the worlds merged. But even through that, they had Uncle Tatsuya. They had each other. Their lives were hard, but they were alive. And then Uncle Tatsuya was killed, senselessly, pointlessly, and now they were going to take Akina too. Just because they had power. The image of the leader's face flashed through Kazuki's mind, grinning, tongue out, holding Akina like she was nothing. I hate them. The words weren't dramatic. They weren't a declaration. They were just the truth, surfacing from somewhere below grief and pain and helplessness. And I hate myself, for being one of the weak. Everything. I hate it all. Something cracked open. The red energy came first, crackling around his body like lightning finding a new path. One of the enemies noticed it immediately. What? His strength is suddenly. Nobody moved in time. Speed Blitz activated. Kazuki was already up. He tore through two of them before they could react. Red slashes, clean and brutal, dropping them where they stood. The leader's expression shifted for the first time all night. Just slightly. Just enough. Kazuki turned to the leader. Eyes red. Voice completely flat. I'll kill you. The leader stared. Then, almost offended. What? Who does one of the weak think he's talking to? He launched himself forward, full power, the same overwhelming force he'd used to put Tatsuya down. His fist connected with Kazuki's guard. Kazuki didn't move. Kazuki drove forward and the impact that followed sent the leader crashing back with a scream that ripped through the night air. The scene cut wide. The courtyard. Bodies of the defeated men scattered across the ground. The crescent moon hanging overhead, completely unbothered by what just happened down below. Kazuki standing in the middle of it all, chest heaving, panting, the only one still standing. He gasped. Looked around. Then the only thing that mattered cut through everything else. Akina! But the leader wasn't done. Barely breathing, barely conscious, he somehow found the words. You bastard! Are you kidding? Because apparently nearly getting killed by the guy you had pinned 2 minutes ago is hard to accept. The red energy around Kazuki flared again. The leader looked at those eyes and, for the first time, understood that whatever this was, it wasn't stopping. And then, right in the middle of all of it, something happened that nobody expected. A system notification materialized in front of Kazuki. Green light. Clean interface. The kind of thing that belonged in a game. Conditions have been met. Player name, Kazuki Kuwa. Player level 10. Acquired extra job, Villain Slayer. Kazuki stared at it, green light reflecting off his face, wide eyes trying to process what he was seeing. The notification pulsed, and then something appeared. A figure materialized from within the light. Humanoid. Pale white, almost translucent, with a single circular eye at the center of its featureless face and a wide, unsettling grin that looked like it was carved rather than natural. It stood in the open courtyard under the crescent moon, arms spread slightly, digital static crackling around its body. Congratulations! Kazuki stared at it. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? The figure lit up with energy, practically vibrating with excitement. You've been chosen! Kazuki's response was the only reasonable one available to him. Huh? A beat. Then, more quietly. A monster is talking? The figure reacted immediately, and dramatically. Calling it a monster was apparently the worst possible thing Kazuki could have said, because the creature's expression shifted into full theatrical offense, sparks and energy crackling around it as it puffed up with indignation. Calling me a monster is so disrespectful. The smile came back, wider now, somehow more unnerving. I'm Peaceman. I'm the god of this world. Kazuki looked at this creature, this smiling, twitching, self-declared deity who had just materialized out of a game notification over a field of unconscious bodies, and delivered the most accurate assessment possible. A god? You look way too suspicious for that. Peaceman, unbothered, leaned in close. Hee, you don't believe me? The eye in the center of its face shifted. But you've already received my divine protection. The power you used to kill those people, Villain Slayer, I'm the one who gave it to you, you know? The image that accompanied those words made the claim hard to dismiss. A wide shot of the courtyard. Kazuki standing amid the falling, red energy dissipating, Akina collapsed nearby, and Tatsuya still motionless in the blood-soaked earth. Whatever that power was, it had been real. Kazuki looked down at the notification still floating in front of him. The job window. Villain Slayer. Another system screen appeared, confirming it. Player name, Kazuki Kuwa. Player level, 10. Extra job obtained, Villain Slayer. This thing claimed to be a god. And if that was even remotely true. If you're really a god. He stepped forward, voice cracking at the edges. Then save my sister! Peaceman crossed its arms. A pause. I am a god, so I love to grant your wish. But, the smile stayed. I can't manipulate human life and death. The words landed like a closed door. No way. Kazuki's eyes dropped immediately to Akina, still unconscious on the ground nearby. Then, what about Akina? Peaceman held up a finger. Now. Don't get so depressed. Listen to the rest. It gestured with characteristic dramatic flair. That old guy over there is already a goner. But the girl is only on the verge of fading away. The eyes shifted. I can still do something about her. Kazuki's head snapped up. Really? I swear on my godhood. Then, before Kazuki could react to that whiplash. Please save her. She's my only sister. She's everything to me. Peaceman seemed to find the desperation charming. Well, let's see. It grinned. I'll do it if you do a little favor for me. No hesitation. Fine. I'll do anything. Peaceman's expression shifted into something that looked like exactly what it was, a deal being sealed. Okay then, it's a contract. A glowing hand extended outward. Golden and red light poured over Akina, not gentle, but decisive, like something being forcibly corrected. Her wounds, which had been severe enough to leave her motionless and fading, began to close. He rushed to her side as the light faded. Her wounds were gone. The bleeding had stopped entirely. Akina! Wake up! Answer me! He turned back toward Peaceman. Hey, she's really healed, right? Peaceman looked slightly offended. How rude! Then, cheerfully. You saw it yourself, didn't you? Her brains were leaning out a bit. I put them right back where they belong. I'll even clean up the surrounding area as a bonus. True to its word, Peaceman raised one finger, and every one of the defeated men who still had a heartbeat was hit with the surge of that same crackling energy. Whatever it did, it cleared the immediate area with the casual thoroughness of someone tidying a room. Then Peaceman turned back to Kazuki, smile unwavering. Now it's my turn. You're going to do that favor for me, right? Kazuki met its gaze, the reality of what he'd agreed to fully settling in. Peaceman drifted closer, that too wide grin filling his field of vision. And what it said next reframed everything. I want you to kill villains as the Villain Slayer. Kazuki blinked. He pulled back slightly. Why would you want that? Peaceman tilted its head. I'm the god who created this world, you see. The cheerful tone didn't waver, but the content underneath it shifted entirely. But I left it alone for a while. And now it's crawling with pests like a bunch of maggots. A flash of something vast and dark behind the smile. But like I said before, I can't directly manipulate human life and death. The eye locked onto Kazuki with complete calm. So, as the agent of God, I want you to clean up the Tokyo Makai. I want you to keep killing them off. Just like you did earlier. The word hit Kazuki like ice water. You're telling me to become a murderer? Peaceman's expression didn't change. That's right. That is the Villain Slayer's mission, after all. What do you mean mission? Kazuki's voice cracked. I never asked for this. You're the one who chose me without my permission. There must be someone else who wouldn't care about killing people. Peaceman went quiet. Then, slowly. You're the one being selfish. The tone dropped, just slightly, but enough to feel it. That job, Villain Slayer, cannot be changed until the day you die. The smile returned immediately, but the words underneath it had teeth. A contract with God requires absolute obedience. Peaceman's eye fixed on him. If there's a breach of contract, her revival will be cancelled. Okay? Kazuki's expression froze. That girl over there will just die, with her brains leaking out. The full weight of it landed. Not just a job that couldn't be changed. Not just a mission he never chose. But a leash. A permanent one. With Akina's life attached to the other end. Peaceman smiled. So what'll it be? Kazuki looked at Akina. Barely awake. Breathing. He looked down at his hand. His gloved fist closed slowly. For Akina's sake. The final image burned onto the page. Kazuki in full Villain Slayer mode, red energy alive and violent around him, the darkness of the Tokyo Makai stretching behind him. For Akina's sake, Kazuki accepted the contract, even though the price had already become clear. Peaceman had restored her body, but her survival now depended on Kazuki fulfilling the role forced upon him. The only path left was to become the Villain Slayer and hunt the people ruling the Tokyo Makai. Peaceman began explaining the target. The Tokyo Makai was divided according to the old 23 wards of Tokyo, and each district had its own head. These heads were not ordinary players. They ruled their respective districts as absolute beings, standing at the top of the hierarchy within their territories. Each head controlled a superior dungeon, a special dungeon with only one existing in each ward. Anyone capable of defeating the boss inside such a dungeon could receive an area master authority along with a superior skill. The rewards granted overwhelming power, with the superior skills possessing effects unlike ordinary abilities. For Kazuki, however, the important part was much simpler. The mission required killing a head. The idea immediately appeared impossible. Kazuki had only recently awakened as a player, and even with the Villain Slayer job, the difference between his current strength and the rulers of the districts remained enormous. Peaceman did not deny that weakness. Instead, the strange deity treated the problem as something that could be solved through growth. Kazuki only needed to become stronger, and the fastest route available to the Villain Slayer was already built into the job itself. Ordinary players could increase their strength by defeating monsters and leveling up. Kazuki's situation was different. The Villain Slayer possessed a unique ability that allowed strength to increase through killing villains. Every defeated villain could therefore become nourishment for further growth. That explanation did little to ease the weight on Kazuki's mind. The mission was no longer simply about protecting Akina. It meant repeatedly taking human lives. Peaceman made the distinction clear. The targets were villains, and the heads were regarded as monstrous rulers within the Tokyo Makai. Kazuki had never heard a single good thing about any of the heads he knew, but that still did not make killing them an easy decision. The contract had already removed the possibility of walking away. Akina's life depended on it. Peaceman made it clear that the current meeting could not continue indefinitely. The strange deity arranged for another meeting around noon the following day near a clock tower. Before leaving, Peaceman reminded Kazuki that the contract connected to Akina had not yet been completed. That reminder immediately caught Kazuki off guard. Kazuki attempted to stop Peaceman before the deity could disappear. The sudden departure left him with more questions than answers, but Peaceman was already gone. The night became quiet again. Kazuki returned to Akina's side, hoping that the healing had finally brought her back. It had not. Akina remained unconscious. Kazuki checked her condition, waiting for her eyes to open, but there was no response. Her body was alive, and her heart was still beating, yet she remained trapped in an unresponsive state. The realization struck him with growing unease. Kazuki had believed that Akina had been saved. Now the truth was becoming impossible to ignore. She was alive, but she had not awakened. The contract was not complete. Kazuki remembered Peaceman's warning, and the meaning of those words became painfully clear. The frustration became overwhelming. Kazuki lowered his head as the weight of the situation settled over him. There was no turning back now. For Akina's sake, the Villain Slayer would continue his hunt. And the first true targets waiting at the end of that path were the heads who ruled over the Tokyo Makai. Almost 12 o'clock had arrived, and the meeting Peaceman had arranged was drawing near. Kazuki waited in the park, but the promise of that meeting offered little comfort because Akina still had not awakened. Peaceman's treatment had kept her alive, yet without the completed contract, her recovery remained incomplete. Kazuki had already carried Akina through the worst of what had happened. With nowhere else to turn, he had placed her in the care of the old comrade's uncle Tatsuya had once told him to rely on. They mourned the death they believed Kazuki had suffered, while Kazuki could only focus on the promise that mattered more than anything else. Akina had to survive. That promise hardened into a single purpose. Whatever it took, Kazuki would protect his sister. Then the quiet of the park was broken by a girl in trouble. A large man in a red basketball jersey had cornered her and was trying to drag her away. Kazuki watched from a distance and immediately recognized the situation as another problem connected to the meeting. The man was clearly dangerous, but he did not appear powerful enough to justify the urgency surrounding Peaceman's instructions. Still, walking away was no longer an option. Kazuki stepped in. The girl struggled against the attacker while the large man continued trying to force her along. A glowing red display suddenly appeared in Kazuki's vision, identifying the man with a crime level of 5 for kidnapping. The discovery left Kazuki confused, but the answer became clear enough when the criminal attempted to continue dragging the girl away. Kazuki moved to stop him. The intervention immediately drew the criminal's attention. The man demanded to know who had appeared and insisted that the girl belonged to him. The criminal responded with force. Kazuki struck, driving the larger man away with a powerful blow. The impact sent the man crashing down, leaving him sprawled across the ground. The girl was finally out of his grasp. But the situation was far from over. A second figure entered the scene, dressed in an absurdly bright yellow suit and carrying a long spear. Unlike the first criminal, this man moved with complete confidence. He looked at the defeated thug as little more than an inconvenience, and immediately took control of the situation. The yellow-clad man treated the girl as another possession to be taken. Kazuki refused to let that happen. The newcomer revealed a far more disturbing attitude. He could not even remember whether the girl was named Akina, casually admitting that there were too many women for him to bother remembering every name. Kazuki's anger sharpened. A strange white bird appeared nearby, drawing his attention. The bird revealed itself as the form-piece man had chosen to observe the situation, explaining that only Kazuki could see it. But the information the bird provided was anything but harmless. Kazuki had been given access to a new way of judging criminals. A search for villains could reveal their crimes and display the weight of their sins. The yellow-clad man immediately appeared as something far worse than the first criminal. His record showed 30 crimes, including rape and murder. The bird explained that the search system could provide information about a target's crimes and show the severity of those sins. That meant Kazuki would not have to fear killing an innocent person by mistake. The system was designed to distinguish genuine villains from ordinary people. Kazuki remained suspicious. The bird insisted that the issue was not trust. The contract had to be fulfilled for Akina's sake, and defeating villains was the most efficient way to gain the experience needed to grow stronger. The message was brutally simple. Kill the villain. The yellow-clad man suddenly attacked. Kazuki raised his weapon as the spear came toward him. The clash sent both fighters into motion, but something had changed. The red energy surrounding Kazuki intensified, and his perception shifted. The spear swept past as Kazuki closed the distance, his weapon flashing through the opening. The counterattack landed. The yellow-clad man was struck across the arm, blood spraying from the wound as the force of the attack sent him reeling. His confidence disappeared almost instantly. Kazuki did not stop. The red energy continued to surround him as his determination became unmistakable. The next exchange happened almost too quickly to follow. Kazuki's movements flowed through the opening in the enemy's defense, his weapon cutting through the attack before driving into the yellow-clad man's body.